I'm back to the knobs, exploring my first hardware synth in decades. Stay with me. Welcome back to the Five Dot Loft, where the process is the story. I'm Al Clark. I love Ableton's Wavetable synth. It is the instrument that really opened up the world of synthesis to me. But recently, I purchased this, a Korg Wavestate. Not only is this the first hardware synth since the 90s that I've owned, but its engine offers possibilities that are simply not available in Ableton's stock instruments. I'll start by doing a quick comparison to Wavetable, and then we'll dive in and build a sound, and I'll show you why going back to the knobs has been so much fun for me. Alright, so I'm here in Ableton Live, and I've got an instance of Wavetable going on. Let's hear what this sounds like. Remember, Wavetable gives me two oscillators or two sound sources, two engines, whatever you want to call it, and each of those are wavetables. Remember what a wavetable is. It's just a series of individual waves, okay, samples, that are then stacked together and then you can modulate through them. So let's hear what this first oscillator, get my cursor back here, let's hear what this first oscillator sounds like, and we've got this. Okay, this is called clipped sweep, and all that's happening is I have this LFO that's just simply sweeping that wavetable, creating this kind of ever-modulating, ever-changing sound. Okay, but it's still relatively static. Okay, let's hear what the second oscillator gives us. I've got the wavetable position modulated by envelope 2, which is just going to sweep down and then settle on that sine wave, right? Okay, now if I put these together and I go and I play this track here, you get kind of a nice undulating sound, right? And this kind of thing is perfect for drum and bass, right? I can come here and you know this sound, right? This is a good basis for creating a drum and bass track. Let's hear how we can do this same thing inside of Wavestate. Alright, so one of the main differences I see between Wavestate and Wavetable is the fact that in Wavestate you have 4 layers. In Wavetable you only have the 2 layers. You have well, you actually have 3 because you have the sub-oscillator, but it's 2 layers with wavetables. Here you have 4 layers, and each layer can be a multi-sample or what they call wave sequences. So, again, a wavetable, single waveforms stacked together in a way where you can modulate through them, where you can morph through them to create movement in your sound. Here in Wavestate, you've got a series of sequences that allow you to sequence timing, sample, pitch, etc. We're going to just deal with the sample portion first. So what does that sound like? It sounds like this. In other words, I'm just going through each of these samples according to the timing, similar to the way in a wavetable I'm going through each of the individual cycles of the wave. Sort of, right? Now, the samples themselves come from this huge library of samples. In a wavetable, you only have those waveforms that are sort of associated with one another. Here, I can combine synths and plucks and perks and keys and brass, all sorts of different things. Now, I have 7 waveforms here. These are all different forms of a formant wave. I wanted to choose something similar to sort of imitate what a wavetable might be doing. I have 7. You can have 16 times 4, 64 per layer. You can sit there and cycle through 64 different samples. we're not going to do that here. We're just going to do 7 on one layer, and we'll see how it sounds. So, how can we make this a little bit more musical? Well, one of the things we want to be able to do here is to sort of be able to morph them together, or just do a simple volume crossfade between them. So I'm going to go to Wavestate by chords here. Okay. You have these hardware knobs here that allow you to modulate basically anything. On this knob here, I have the crossfade time. So as I increase that, they start to crossfade between one another, and you get a nice smooth sound here. I add a little reverb to that. Ooh. Now you got something happening here. Now add a little bit of that tape delay, and I've got just the wet dry over here. And you're starting to get a nice atmospheric bass here. Play with the filter a little bit. Love playing with knobs. All right. What if we were to do this? Let's bring the timing back so that there's no crossfade between them. Let's keep the speed the way it is. And let's make the shape over to a more of a gate. Now, as I bring this back, and let's bring the break in here. Listen to what we've got going on. Nice gated sound. I can also increase the speed of this, but what we'll first do, bring this back around. This. So much fun. So that's where I'm at. Back to the knobs. rediscovering the hands-on sound design that Korg Wavestate offers. Compared to Wavetable, it's not just better or worse, it's just a totally different way of thinking. For atmospheric drum and bass, that evolving hands-on approach has been super fun. If you enjoy this kind of process-based content, a like, a subscribe, that would certainly be appreciated. Helps keep me going. And let me know in the comments if you've gone back to hardware or haven't done hardware yet, or what synth you're loving now. I'm Al Clark. This is the 5 Dot Loft. See you next week.